Welcome everybody to the ControllerCast. My name's Parker. We got Arcel here, John and Andrew, all with a new set of topics for this week on May 2nd. So just to start off, how's everybody doing? Let's start with you, Arcel. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I've been enjoying the summer heat a little bit more. I went to the pool for the first time today, or not today. I went to the pool for the first time yesterday, and it was nice just kind of being by the pool side. I've gone to the hot tub a few times, but for this first time, I actually went swimming because the weather was finally hot enough. Because yeah, it's May now, which is crazy to think about. I also got to play little first impressions. I got to play a little bit of Returnal also yesterday, and it launched. It's been getting pretty good reviews. I'm gonna give a little bit more of an in-depth review come next week, so for the next episode. But I just wanted to share some first impressions with the game, specifically with Andrew and John, because I mean we're going to be talking about Hades. They've played Hades, so they kind of know how these kinds of games work. So I heard coming into this game that that this game was gonna be really hard, like really hard, like really fucking hard, like Dark Souls level, like harder than Hades. Like this game is gonna whoop your ass. Every reviewer was talking about this, and just to give you guys a quick understanding of how the game's laid out is, like how in Hades there's like 4 levels, in Returnal
Right.
there's 6 levels total, but the runs are split 3 and 3. So you have to just get from 1 to 3. And then once you're in 4 through 6, every time you die in 4 through 6, you'll restart at 4. But if you die from 1 through 3, you restart at 1. And this is gonna be really weird. I'm not trying to sound like an elitist when I'm saying this, but I got through the entire first half of the game in one run.
What?
What the
and seeing as this like reviewers have talked about this game being like 20 to 30 hours, and like I had to hop on Reddit after I did this, and everyone's talking about like oh bro, 10 tries in, 10 hours in, like finally got past the first boss. Like everyone's like dropping all these strategies and shit, and I'm like, I just beat half this game in a 2 or 3 hour session.
What the heck?
Dude, you could speed run it. You could set the world record.
And guess what? My run isn't even over because I just put the PS5 in rest mode. I'm in the 4th biome and I stopped there because I was like, okay, I've been playing for 2 or 3 hours, but
you could have given your full review.
Yeah, I was like, if I stayed up a few hours, I could have beat this game. But no, I mean, to be fair, I've heard the second half of this game exponentially gets harder, but I will say, like, it's borderline like saying like I beat Hades in my first run through. So that's all I wanted to say right now. I'm enjoying the game a lot. The game is a lot of fun, but I just thought that was super strange because I feel like I'm not getting the normal Returnal experience.
Yeah,
because I just got through it, and I don't think that's going to be like indicative of what most people would experience playing this game. But I think it's still super fun that I essentially. Because now, whenever I die, I'm gonna start at the 4th level. So, like, I'm done with the first 3 levels in one go. So, I thought that was kind of crazy, but that's kind of been my week. Been swimming and playing games. So, Andrew, what about you, man?
Up in Omaha, it's been pretty damn hot. No pool for me. But I went to the Nebraska spring game yesterday. Got to watch our future 5-7 Husker football team.
Yeah, how they do.
I mean, I don't really know ever how to judge like how good a team is just based off of a glorified practice scrimmage.
I mean, they're playing their own bad teammates.
Yeah, they're like basically just like showing how bad the second string is compared to like the starters. So,
right.
I don't know. They definitely have some people that kind of stood out. Like Adrian Martinez looks skinnier and he actually wasn't playing like an idiot for once. And then we have this new receiver. His name's Omar Manning. His nickname is Booby.
Booby?
Yeah. Look at his name on Twitter is Omar Booby Manning. So
Booby?
Yeah. Yep.
What?
He was pulling in some nice catches, so might have a new wide receiver one this year.
What did you say?
Ovi.
Dude, there's gonna be a pass that drops off of his boobie, like actually bounces off. And
I know. There were some. We have a new backup quarterback who, he was playing pretty good in the second half, not so much the first half. So, he could be a starter in the future. We'll see. But I kind of hope I hope Nebraska isn't complete dog ass this year.
So what? I have a question. What is the excuse going to be this year? Is it that we're rebuilding?
Good question.
Rebuilding.
I think
in the 90s.
If we start doing something bad, I think Mr. Frost is going to make one of our major players fake an injury, so he can be like, "Oh well, Adrian Martinez was injured." Yeah.
Yeah. When is Frost going to exit? Do you think if they suck ass again, they'll leave? Like he'll leave?
I think he's got this year. Depending on how this year goes, he might have one left, if even. I don't know.
They signed him to a huge contract, didn't they?
It's 7 years, but I mean, shit,
Yeah,
we're already on.
It was
year 4.
10 million or even more than that.
Yeah,
something insane.
He'll probably be like, oh well, make Adrian Martinez fake an injury and be like, yeah, that's why we're bad. That Adrian Martinez is the reason our defense gave up 35 points a game.
Yeah. That's how it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll see. But other than that, not a whole lot. It's just been working. It's been pretty damn hot here. So, John, how's your week been?
My week's been pretty good. I actually went to a wedding this weekend and it was pretty fun. The venue was super cute and it actually felt mostly normal considering COVID and everything. Dude, no one wore a mask. So I guess I was just hoping that everyone was vaccinated. Probably not, but no one was wearing a mask. But it was still really fun.
How many people were in attendance?
What's that?
How many people were in attendance?
There had to have been 70 people.
Okay.
70 or so, but the entire wedding was outside, so it wasn't really a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm also getting more into the weeds of my new job, and it's actually seeming like a really good fit for me. So that's good. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I just hung out with a couple of people I haven't seen in a year last night. Crystal and Emily, shout out if you're listening to this, and Graham and Deidre, hang out with them all the time. But that was pretty much it for my week. It was pretty chill. What about you, Parker?
Yeah, so just to update you guys on my week. I actually did a stream last night on our ControllerCast Twitch. Check it out. And you guys need to check out more of those streams because I am on a Madden roll. So I'll make sure to get some more of that on footage. I know Andrew was able to catch up on some of that stream.
Yeah, how many of those games did your opponent just give up? Because that one game, he threw an interception and immediately quit the game.
Dude, on the first drive, dude, there's some I had to go through.
Now watch this drive.
I had to go through 3 people that just either quit or lag out, and then I could actually get into the stream. That's the thing about Madden PC is that people don't even stay in the game for more than 2 minutes sometimes. But yeah, I very much want to keep doing the streams because that was very much fun. But other than that, just been a normal week. It's been very nice here in Omaha, so I've been outside quite a bit, just walking around, just kind of enjoying the May weather. Well, I try not to. But, I think we can start moving into our topics here. So it looks like, Andrew, you are up first to talk about the new Pokemon Snap. What are your thoughts?
Yep. So, if anyone's aware, this bad boy came out on Friday. New Pokemon
I see you've got
Snap.
it.
Yep, I do. I got it. I pre-ordered it and got it release day. It is the first Pokemon game I've played that isn't developed by Nintendo or Game Freak. They actually get handed it over to Bandai, Namco Bandai, I think is how you say it. They helped develop Smash Ultimate and Smash 4.
Yeah.
So it's kind of refreshing seeing a game from the Pokemon series actually look graphically nice for once. Because the other mainline title, this one that I'm trying to finish, Pokemon Sword, it is one of the worst games I've ever played in the whole franchise. So going in between, so I look at new Pokemon Snap like not a gamer's game, and what I mean by that is there's really not like a premise besides just going around like Pokemon environments, taking pictures and getting graded on them. So it's like a game that doesn't really have like a plot. Like there's no plot, there's no like villains, there's no enemies. So you really just, drive this little buggy around and just take pictures all day, which is like kind of relaxing just to sit back and like not have to get like stressed about different game decisions and like making strategy like the old games. So I think it's a really fun game. I mean, obviously it's not for everyone because it's not very like action packed. It's, you literally just drive around. So it's really cool in that aspect, just because like as a Pokemon fan, being able to like kind of see them like outside of a RPG based game, like just see like Pokemon, their natural environment, just like interacting like real world animals do is really cool. It's actually a sequel to a game that was released, I think, in 1999 on the N64 called Pokemon Snap. And this one's called
I remember
Snap.
that game. I remember that game actually.
Which is insane that after 20 something years they made a sequel finally, which just, I mean, I feel like that kind of gives hope to other dead Nintendo franchises like F-Zero or like Earthbound or something.
Did you see Terry Cruz's tweet?
Yeah, he wants Mother 3 localized. Yeah, that's been like a
what
running
is Mother
joke.
3?
Mother 3 is Earthbound. It would be Earthbound 2 because Mother 1 is like Earthbound is really weird. Like,
is that the game Ness is in? Ness and
Yeah.
like Lucas.
Earthbound 1 in America is like Mother 2, and then I don't know if there is a Earthbound. That whole franchise just goes over my head. I don't understand it at all.
I don't know anything.
Yeah,
about it.
Up with that.
I mean, I've heard it's a classic franchise though.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, it is nice to see a Pokemon game actually have good graphics for once. Just because of how awful Pokemon Sword and Shield and like all the 3DS ones look. Like I think it's the best looking game since the DS ones, where they use like the pixel based sprites. Because I mean, how do you mess up pixel based sprites? Like
you don't think Sword compared to the DS versions?
In terms of visuals, like besides being HD, that's all it's got going for it. I
I heard
animations are terrible. Like
I heard in Sword and they cut down a big amount of the Pokemon. Like they cut down a lot of features.
Yeah, there's hard. I mean, it makes me more optimistic because this fall, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl getting a remaster on the Switch, which I'm super hyped for because those were my first ones. And they actually outsourced that game to the company that remastered Link's Awakening on the Switch. So it'll have a different graphical style.
Get out of Game Freak's hands.
Yeah, just give it away to get it out of Game Freak's hands, honestly, because it makes me more optimistic for the remakes looking better, but it also makes me feel worse about the Pokemon Legends Arceus that's supposed to come out next year, just because
like shit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like very good. Yeah, so
it looks like shit.
Yeah, so I think it's good to see Nintendo not really like try to like get a little like wacky with the Switch, because they went with like Nintendo Labo, making like VR out of cardboard, like driving and like steering wheels and stuff all out of cardboard. And now just making a game where all you do is just take pictures.
So, Andrew,
does the Labo camera attachment work with this game?
No, but I was thinking the way the game's set up is when you get in the car, you're in like first person. So actually one of the points I wanted to say is it's a game that I could definitely see them incorporating like the Labo, the VR headset that they made a while back. If they could incorporate into that and put like gyro controls and stuff, I think that would be killer. And I think they should. I don't know if they will.
I have a question about this game. So I think this fits like the kind of the same aesthetic as like New Horizons, that like kind of laid back, cutesy Nintendo game. And I was, thinking about getting it. But then I saw the price tag was $60. Would you say this game justifies its price tag? Because I mean, it seems like a really cool, relaxed game, but at the end of the day, it just seems like you're taking photos in the game. Like, would you say that justifies the price tag, or
I would say
prospective customers?
I would say if you're not like a huge Pokemon fan already, I would wait till it goes on sale. Or try it out if somebody has it, if it goes on sale. If you are a Pokemon fan though, I think it's a good pickup. But I guess my thoughts on the price is like, I mean, Nintendo's going to release all their first party games at $60, no matter really how, in depth it is or whatnot. That's just kind of their standard now. But I think it just depends on your level of how involved you are in Pokemon and if you're a fan or not. I think if you're not a fan, probably wait. If you are, probably good pickup. If you're not a fan, maybe just, and you want to try out the franchise, probably just wait till November when the remastered games come out. But I don't know. We'll see. I doubt it'll get a price drop, but.
What's the gameplay like?
You
do you
literally
just take pictures?
Yeah,
it's
like first person perspective. You're in like a hovercraft type thing, and you just have a camera, and you can take up to you basically, there's like different areas you can go through. They all have like a set, amount of Pokemon. They might not all come out. Like it's all RNG on which ones come out.
Is it a roguelike where you have to, do it in one buggy run?
No. A roguelike Pokemon Snap, the newest game.
It's on rails though, right? It's not like you're driving the buggy around, right?
No, it's got a preset course. I apparently later in the game you can kind of control it a little more, but I've only played about 4 or 5 hours of it. So right now you basically there's all these different regions. There's like jungles, beaches, mountains that you unlock throughout the game, and each one just has different areas to take pictures of. And then when you're done, you get like a score on each picture, or for each Pokemon based on the best picture you took of it.
This sounds like something that'd be like a ride at like Nintendo Land or whatever it is. Like because it's on a prefixed path. Like it seems like totally like it would be on a ride where you're like
literally
you can take photos and keep them or something. Like
So
that's a really good idea.
My closing thoughts on it. I think it's fun if you are involved in Pokemon. It's a really good game, and you should definitely pick it up. If you're not, maybe check out some gameplay first or try it if somebody has it first. But so go out and buy Pokemon Snap, I guess.
I actually neither am I.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll do insane sales numbers, but I mean, for Pokemon fans, it's a good little like.
I was gonna say I don't like. I would definitely pick this game up if it was like $10 or $20, but it seems like this game was made for. It seems like because I mean $60 is a lot for a game like this, but I feel like this is definitely built for like Pokemon fans.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think it's a very niche game.
I think if you are looking to get into Pokemon and got $60, I would wait until November when the remastered DS games come out, because those are considered like near the peak or the peak of the franchise, like in terms of story and everything really.
So when I was much younger, actually my grandma had a Nintendo 64 at her house, so every time we'd go over there, it would be so much fun because she had Pokemon Snap. So I actually got to play like the original game a little bit. I didn't really do much in the game because, I was like 6 years old or like 5 years old or whatever, but just running around, the environment was so cool. I just remember it being like really easygoing, no stress at all kind of game. And I feel like for that kind of audience, like young Pokemon fans, this is an absolute home run for that kind of audience.
Yeah, for sure.
Not for 60.
Hey, but it's
Actually,
not them
that
paying
would
it, it's their
Come
parents
on,
paying
Nintendo.
it.
Yeah.
true.
I guess if you have 60 to drop and you're a big Pokemon fan, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my situation. So
I'm waiting
yep.
for the sale. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
The sale
Yeah.
though happened in like 7 years.
Knowing Nintendo,
When the next
dude.
thing is on. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next Nintendo console.
But yeah, let's move it on over. Let's transition over to John. I know you wanted to talk about the Conjuring for your event.
Yeah, so this last week, I think it was actually a little over a week ago, but I just saw the trailer of it. The new Conjuring film. And this is actually, I believe, supposed to be in like the mainline Conjuring film. So I guess it would be like the Conjuring 3.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's called The Devil Made Me Do It. And the trailer for me, it looks super interesting. Usually I'm actually not a big horror film guy. Like, you guys know this about me. I love watching like ghost hunting shows and stuff, but I'm a sucker for The Conjuring specifically because they're all based on real life stories from Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I mean, these are the most famous ghost hunters of all time and some of the most reputable as well. But they were so much more than that too. In the trailer, Ed says, the court of law accepts the existence of God every time it swears to tell the truth. I think it's about time that we all accept the existence of the devil. Dude, that line, that was like legitimately something that Ed Warren said. And it's so powerful too, because it's true. I mean, if you think about it, if there's a God and if the stories in the Bible are true, then there must be a devil. So this story, it's the story of a man, Arnie Johnson, who killed his landlord, but he sought to prove his innocence in the court of law with the help of Ed and Lorraine Warren by reason of demonic possession. So unfortunately for Arnie in 1981, the judge ruled that demonic possession was not a reason for innocence, and he was charged with manslaughter. But what do you guys think about the Conjuring series in general? Do you guys believe that demonic possession is a legitimate reason to be innocent of a crime like that? And do you guys believe in ghosts or demons in general? Arcel, do you want to start us off? I see you kind of laughing.
Well, I think The Conjuring, I think for most people, they're considered one of the better horror films in recent times. I haven't seen the second one, and I haven't seen any of the spinoffs. I've seen the first one.
I've actually watched all of them.
Oh, yeah. I've heard they're good. So, like, I probably should, because I watched the first Conjuring when I was younger, and I thought, maybe I just didn't appreciate it. I just thought it was just another horror movie at the time. And throughout my teen years and into my, adult years, I kind of had this perception for myself that I just didn't really like horror films. But what I've come to realize is that I just don't like shitty horror films.
And there's a lot of those.
Yeah. Because when I look back, like the past few years, some of my favorite movies of the past few years are like Hereditary. What is it? The Lighthouse.
It Part 1.
Yeah, It Part 1 is really good. Part 2, blah. What is it? Which is funny because I think John, you and me have talked about that on on Alias back in the day, if anyone knows that.
Yeah, I think so.
But shit, we just talked about The Shining. That's like in my top 10 movies of all time. So I think I should revisit The Conjuring. So before this movie comes out, and honestly, I would be down to talk about this film whenever it comes out. So I need to watch the trailer. June?
And it comes out on HBO Max too.
Yeah. In terms of your other questions,
heavy hitters.
Yeah, heavy hitters. Okay, demonic possession as no, I don't. I don't think that demonic possession. I just feel like that's just so. I think when it comes down to like court cases, we should try to keep things in facts as much as possible, and like. Like, I mean, I'm not a very superstitious person, so like obviously like I have my view on things like that, but
Yeah.
I feel like something like a court case like that would need to be more like be more based in like tangible like evidence. And I feel like when you're bringing something like that to a jury, like convincing, trying to get everyone on board for that accusation, that what's the right word, like that decision in a court that it's demonic. I mean, it would probably be like
It'd probably
instability,
fall
right?
under that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Instability.
mental instability. That's probably what they would probably put it under. So I would probably say no to that. Do I believe in ghosts and supernatural things like that? I'll say this. I think if they are real, I don't think that they are how it's presented in the media. That's probably the best way I could put it. Like
Lamestream media.
yeah, I can like I don't think that if there's like if a part of us exists or stuck in this world or some sort of purgatory type shit, like I don't think that it's
Some Hades shit.
some Hades shit. Yeah, everything's coming back to Hades. But no, I don't think it's like motherfuckers are in houses like try to play peekaboo with us. That's
Yeah.
I guess I mean yeah, I mean this could be, to be honest, this could be a rabbit hole and a main topic for like like a completely different episode, but that's like
Right.
that's my surface level views of it. Like Andrew, what about you? It's a lot, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen the Conjuring one, and then I think that spinoff movie, it's called The Nun, I believe. I've seen that one as well. And like Arsenal, a long time ago, back in high school when I was naive, I was like, oh, horror movies suck. But like Arsenal said, it's just because we always people always just put on shitty horror movies whenever we went to people's houses and stuff. Um, but I'd be interested in this. I would probably watch it. I know my girlfriend Jordan likes The Conjuring and all those movies. She's seen all of them and she loves them, so we'll probably end up seeing it. On the thing of demonic possession, I don't know about that because I feel like it's something that not everybody really believes in. So it's kind of hard to like use it as like a legal basis to like absolve
Right.
somebody of a crime.
You literally have to convince a panel of judges,
Strangers,
essentially.
Yeah, and you know what the
and
problem is with
jury.
the judges is that they're all human beings too. So like that's the issue there, is that not everybody believes different stuff. So
Exactly.
I mean, if it's like something that like the people that have it happen to them would like, you would probably go insane just trying to like reason and be like, guys, like this happened. Like I don't have an explanation for it, but it happened. And obviously you can't convince a jury.
And I mean, like for like future reference, like I think I've definitely like had not personal experiences, but like secondhand experiences of like people talking about like demonic ass shit,
Mm-hmm.
So like that's definitely a very interesting conversation to go down.
Yeah,
Right.
It could 100% be a main topic.
Yeah, it could very well could. And then going off the last part, I do believe in like ghosts and spirits, but like Arsenal said, I don't think they're like trying to chop your nuts off or something. I think it's more like I don't know. I feel like
Peekaboo, I got you.
I got you.
I think it's more like people like their like family member dies and like something similar to them happens or like I don't think it's necessarily like in most cases it's like with ill intent. I think it's more like ghosts like try to do stuff and it's like not interpreted the way that they do it, because I like for example, Jordan's aunt had a close friend pass away, and whenever she like talked about him or whatnot, like the light. There was like a light that would like flicker. So they
Wow.
went to like a medium, and the medium was like, yeah, this is like your friend like trying to talk to you. So I feel like maybe like stuff like that. That's a very shortened version of the story, just for podcast sake. But
Right.
I feel like it's more like stuff like that that gets perceived as like scary, just because we don't know what it is.
So in terms of The Conjuring, I've watched the second movie.
Not the first.
Not the first. I went to the theaters and watched the second one, like just kind of out of nowhere. Like I never really was a fan of horror movies usually. Like I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and like all the good ones. Like Arcel, you were saying, like there are horror movies that are actually quality that are out there, but there are just so many that are trashy. So you don't know like what's good and what's not. So when I watched the second Conjuring movie, I really didn't understand anything. Like it just felt really, it was just really strange. I personally didn't like it too much, but I could if I started from the first movie and like actually got the story and like followed the plot, I might like it, but that would be something to follow up later with.
It loosely follows the plot from like movie to movie.
Yeah, I probably understand it a little more if I actually started from the beginning, but um in terms of like if people should be charged for murder if they're possessed, I mean, if there was somebody that actually murdered somebody, right? They weren't possessed and they just straight up did it, and there was evidence of them doing it. Could they just claim demonic possession and just try to get out of it? Like, I feel like there'd
If they
be
could pay
people.
a priest off,
Yeah, like I feel like they could try to just claim, oh, I was just demonically possessed. Oh, I swear I didn't murder that guy. You know. But
it was
sir, we
the
have the
devil.
video of you shooting him in the head.
The devil made me do it. The devil made me do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I for on a legal basis, that just seems a little silly to me. That should never be a thing. But in terms of like if I believe in ghosts or not, um, I so it just depends. I'd really have to experience it first. Like I've never seen one or like have any reason to believe that that's a thing either. Um, I'm not a very spiritual guy, to be honest with you guys. Never really had like a type of energy when I walk into a room. Never really. I just don't understand all this stuff, and so I personally do not believe in ghosts or anything like that. But I mean, I've seen a lot of like interesting stories that are intriguing for sure. Um, but like I said, I'd have to experience something. Like I need the, because on TV people can fake it for money, but in real life you can't fake that. So
Right.
I definitely like to go to like a haunted house or something and
Yeah, I'm down to
piss my
do that.
pants.
I'm
Yeah.
down. I'm
Yeah,
100%
we've
down to go
talked
to a
about
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to the Stanley Hotel when Casey and I go on our honeymoon. So maybe I'll be able to capture my own proof. And, to kind of wrap this up, I believe in ghosts, obviously. I think you guys you guys know, but I'm sure the listeners can probably tell. But I mean, I think that demonic possession should not be, a reason for killing someone in the court of law, because like you said, Parker, and like you were going into, that can be such a rabbit hole. And I do believe that it does happen. And honestly, unfortunately for Arnie Johnson, just based on his story and the evidence that Ed and Lorraine collected, it seems like that was the case. And, he probably went to jail. And I didn't look too much into like what happened with him, but he probably had a shitty time in jail if this was happening to him. Like, dude, this stuff eats people out. Like it eats people from the inside out. It eats people out.
Eats people out.
Oh my god.
But literally, dude,
What a horny
it's
ghost.
terrible. But it going back to just like believing in ghosts
Exorcism
in general.
Doesn't say where the demon has to leave.
Oh god. But just like the believing in ghosts in general thing, I do think it's something that like either you feel passionate about, or you've had an experience and you believe, or you don't. And the people that don't, everyone I've talked to says if they had an experience, they would change their mind. And no one's ever like, oh, no way, no how, there's no way. Like even you, Ursula and Parker, you guys seem like open to it. I mean, you're willing to go to a notoriously haunted location to see, if you're able to see anything. But
I mean, I've definitely had weird experiences, but I mean, it's just such a rabbit hole. Like seriously, like we could definitely make a main topic. I've
Halloween.
Yeah, like yeah, seriously, like I've definitely had some weird experiences, but like I always, for me personally, like the way I look at stuff is like I want to be able to like lay out all the options on the table and like be able to find a way to eliminate them in a natural way, because it's like, there's a possibility 100% that it could be some sort of supernatural thing, like experience that I've had. But I feel like there also could be other factors involved. Like there's other potential explanations for certain things, So that's
Right.
yeah.
But that was pretty much, all I had on The Conjuring and ghosts in general. Obviously, that's a rabbit hole topic. But Parker, did you want to go into your current event for the week?
Yes. So my current event of the week really has to do with psionics bullshit. Okay. So if any of you know who Psionics is, they're the creators of Rocket League.
Speaking of demons.
Yeah. Absolute demon. But so I play a lot of competitive Rocket League in my free time because I mean most of the time it's a fun game, okay? Most of the time, like probably 80% of the time, it's one of the best games you'll play, right?
So
And
polished,
and
but
then
not really.
And then you lose a game 3-2, and you scored 2 of the goals, and you division down, and you lose your rank. So that was something I wanted to talk about, is the ranking system on this stupid fucking game. Oh my god.
Epic Games ruined this.
Yeah, there's for some reason there are games where you win, where you don't rank up, right? But there are games where you lose by 1 in overtime, and you go down a rank. And even though your win was against like a Platinum 3, like God Squad, sweaty team, you never rank up anymore. So my frustration with Psionics mainly has to do with not being able to get out of Platinum 1 ever because the game locks me and doesn't ever have me rank up. I feel like a lot of people are starting to show frustration with this right now. And there are also a lot of games where the matchmaking is actually really trash. And it'll have you like with 2 gold players, even though you're a platinum, you have 2 gold players on your team, and there's like all platinums on the other team. Like there's just a lot of stuff like that in competitive online Rocket League where it's like, what are you doing here? What is this matchmaking or what is this ranking system at all? I know John and Andrew, you guys are very big time Rocket League players that play on competitive as well.
And a temporary retirement cycle.
I think I want to hear about why you guys are retiring. So Andrew, let me know what's going on, man. Why'd you quit playing?
I think Andrew and I's reasons are pretty similar too, because we play 2s together.
Yeah, John, if you want to chime in, go for it. But I was talking with John about this the day I ended up uninstalling it just to force myself to take a break. So I think Smash Ultimate suffers from this issue too on the online, is that like when you have an online game and there's like when you lose, you can visibly see your like rank drop. That's like the most frustrating thing ever. Like you lose a game on Smash and your GSP goes down like 1 million. And it's just so frustrating. It's like, it's an online game, like if they did like what Madden did, I'd be fine. If they just gave you a record, you're like, hey, look, you're like 67 and 40. And then, you just added 1 to the loss column, when you lose, that'd be fine.
Or like ratios of goals.
Yeah. Like if they put more emphasis on ratio, or if they just kept the whole ranking system just behind a curtain and like didn't show us. Cause like, I like playing the game, but dude, like you said, Parker, it's so frustrating when you see that rank go down, even though you played like amazing. I wish it was just like more open or something, like, or that just didn't happen, because I think visibly being able to see the game consider you worse is just like so frustrating, especially when you played good. And
Yeah.
I mean, me and John have that.
Like, I just want to chime in too. I mean, you guys all definitely play more Rocket League than me, but I knew this whole ranking system was complete horse fucky when when literally the first time I got ranked after the reboot, right? Like after I went back to season 1, like the first time I got ranked, I was in threes, and I am by far the worst Rocket League player out of all 4 of us. Like, you guys can be nice about it, but I'm definitely the worst. And then we got ranked, and I'm pretty sure I got ranked higher in gold, definitely than John, because I'm pretty sure John went into silver. And
you were higher than me for sure.
Yeah, me and you were at the same level, and John was like way behind, and we played all of our games together.
Yeah. And I was consistently getting like probably like at the bottom of the leaderboard, besides like 1 or 2 games in those 10 matches, in those placement matches. And it's like that showed me right there that the whole thing was a facade. It was smoke and mirrors.
Well, I know Rocket League they do have a ranking system behind the curtains, kind of called like MMR, that you can only see when you play the PC version of the game. Parker, you can see that if you like download a mod for it. But so you go up like 9 points if you win a game, and I think it's 18 points between each tier. But if you lose, you can go down up to 27 points. It's like, it's in a game like that where it's ultra competitive and you're like plateauing like I did, dude, you literally are just stuck, because you win 1, you lose 1, maybe you win 2 or 3, doesn't matter. You lose 1 the next one, you're done.
The loss could be because of your teammates too. Like you could have a teammate just completely whiff on a save, or like miss a wide open shot, and it causes you to lose and rank down a level.
Which goes back to the ranking system. You get put with shitty people that shouldn't even be in your rank, or you get put with people or against people that shouldn't be in your rank and are obviously way better. Like I was Gold 3 Division 4 for a month and a half. I was going back and forth between like Gold 3, Gold 4, Gold 3, Gold 4, Gold 3, Gold 4 for a month. And that was why I retired, because retired. I say it like I was good, I say it like I was good at the game. But like I kept getting matched up against people that were in platinum, and it was like my game before ranking up. But it wasn't like Platinum 1 Division 1 that I was playing. It was like Platinum 2 D4 that I was playing, or Platinum 3, or these people were unranked and they were doing crazy shit that only like diamond ranks could do. It was just like you get put against unranked people when you're ranked. The season's been out for a week, and these unranked people, they could have gotten to a platinum or a gold like ranked match in their 3rd game, and they could go all the way up to grand champion by the end of their unranked session. But guess what? I got moved down a rank because I got put against people that weren't even ranked yet and were probably much, much better than me. It's stupid shit like that that makes the game not fun, honestly.
You guys, like, it's always like a grass is greener on the other side. Like, I gotta say, like, because my main multiplayer game has been COD primarily, like, recently, and like at least with Rocket League, you have a delineator between casual and competitive, because like in COD, like one of the biggest complaints in COD has been everyone is in one pool. And like John, we've experienced this where it's like,
yeah,
like you've talked about how you played better when you've played Call of Duty by yourself, and it's not a coincidence that you play worse when you're playing with us, or like when we're all playing together, like, because my tier ranking, my like invisible skill tier, is higher than yours, so you're playing with a bunch of people at my skill level.
Yeah,
and it's like,
it's no secret I suck at Call of Duty.
but it's like, and then you end up, it's like, we can't even play Call of Duty together because it's like no one is having a good time because you're essentially playing like maybe in a silver level with platinums or golds or something, in that. And it's just like, be lucky, Rocket League community. Be happy that you guys even have a fucking ranked.
But like the differentiation between casual and ranked, the thing about ranked is it gives you a point to want to play because you're like, oh, I want to rank up. I want to see, that symbol change. I want to see that new rank. But in casual, there's literally no reward to playing it. None. And people just quit halfway through the match usually. So you never get like a good game in.
What about like what about just like moving up in the rocket pass?
Like, I don't really care anymore.
Yeah.
Like I have enough items at this point. It's cool. I don't know.
We all have a bunch of items in Rocket League. Like we've been playing for so long, dude.
I've invested over 330 hours into it across my PlayStation and my Switch, and to be at Gold 3 D4 for like half that time. I mean, it's probably a problem with me. This sounds like a me problem, but there's definitely also a problem with the matchmaking because I've gone down for BS reasons.
I feel like the progression should be a lot better with that ranking system because in most games, as you like play the game more, you rank up and you go into like higher skill rankings as you like play the game more. But in Rocket League, there's no progression. You get to a rank and you mainly stay at that rank, or you lose like a couple levels. Even though you win a bunch of games, you barely move. So there's just no progression, and I am honestly barely been playing Rocket League lately. I used to be an addict, like, dude, Rocket League.
I play it any free time I got.
Yeah, and lately I haven't been wanting to play it because I know there's no point. Because I know I'm not going to rank up or actually progress in the game at all. I'm just playing it to play it.
Playing it for highlights.
Exactly. Just to get a clip to record. But those are our main Rocket League frustrations, and I knew that everybody would feel the same way. We've all been talking about it for quite a while. But Arcel, did you want to move into your current event?
More frustrating news.
Yes, more frustrating news. CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, God damn it!
Shivers down my spine.
Yeah,
I don't even want to hear it.
God, I honestly wish this game came out like because I would have loved to talk about the absolute shit show of this game's launch on this show. Like, I'm glad we might have we have the opportunity to kind of go back to it now. So everyone in the gaming world knows probably most hyped game of the entire generation comes out, falls flat on its fucking face. We all know it. Now, recently, in an investor's call, that Jason Schreier reported on, and we've given credit to Jason Schreier before, and we will in the future because he's like the number one guy for talking about these sorts of stories. But for giving insider scoops into like game development and all these game scandals, pretty much talked about how the bonuses went out for CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk 2077's performance because the game in 2020 alone, keep in mind this game came out on December 10th. In 2020, this game sold 14 million copies, which is absolutely insane. But they got their bonuses for it. And the split was 50-50 between, and this was where the controversy came in with this article. The split was 50-50 between the executive, board and the rest of the development team.
What?
And it was
50-50?
And keep in mind, the executive board has 5 people on it, and the development, the developers, there's hundreds of people. So, all of this, it's just kind of crazy to look back because the higher ups are the ones who wanted to push the game out before Christmas, and it was all the actual people working on the game, the developers who were like, this game is not ready. We need to push it back. And they're the ones who are putting in the crazy man hours trying to like bust this game out.
They're the
And
artists.
yeah, they're the artists, they're the creators. They're not the suits, But now the suits are getting, and people calculated it, like the suits at the top are getting millions of dollars. These 5 people that decided to make the bad call to push this game out. And then the people who had to spend time away from their families, who had to put an insane amount of overtime to get this game out by the time those people wanted to release it, they were getting on average, like the average was like maybe like 20 to 30,000 bonus. But keep in mind, that's average. There's people who have come out from the company who have said that their bonuses have been in the 4 digits. And I feel like that is a complete, like, just spit in the face of like all the hardworking people. Like, whenever people talk bad about this game, whenever I talk about anyone, I don't think it's ever directed towards the developers of this game, because it was not in their control what happened with this game. It totally sucks. But this whole thing, I feel like it's just another like cherry on top for like how just fucked this whole situation is. Like, I think it's so ridiculous. The people at the top are the ones who are getting the most benefit out of this terrible decision. And the people who have to suffer are the ones who are suffering even more. Like, think about it. Some people are getting paid millions of dollars. And then there's some people who are getting paid like $5,000 for the bonus, which I think.
And on top of that, the game's not finished.
Yeah. And
the game isn't finished.
Yeah. And to be honest, like before I pass on to anyone else, like, I think the game at its core could be really good, but at this point, I played it like the first like 10 hours of the game, stopped and was like, I'll wait until all the bugs are polished. At this point, I'm gonna refund the game because I don't feel like, comfortable supporting a company that's fucking over their workers like this, and thinking, CD Projekt Red was literally like the golden child for reputation in the games industry, and they squandered that in a week, and everyone hates them now, and they treat their workers like shit. They completely like cashed in on all their goodwill with Witcher 3, and I think it's just, I don't want to support how, like, I think the entire, like, this is a common problem in the games industry of like people being overworked and not getting paid enough. And I think this is like one time where I'm just like, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to ask for a refund because I don't want to support companies treating their workers like this. So, I mean, John, maybe you want to kind of give your 2 cents on this whole thing.
Yeah. So, well, from the beginning, just seeing the issues with the game, I knew that it was an executive problem because the developers were trying to say that, they needed more time. It was clear they needed more time. And even when it came out, December, it still seemed like it was rushed, because I'm pretty sure like even 2 weeks before it came out, there was another delay. Like, it was getting delayed back to back to back. And it was obvious that it wasn't finished. And that's the reason I didn't pick it up in the first place. And I always wait for like the reviews to come out before picking up a game like that. And the reviews weren't good. And it's sad to say, because obviously they put in 8 years of work into this. Like, they've been working on this game since when was the first trailer? Like 2015 E3 or before that?
2012.
2012. Yeah, they've been working on this game forever. And to put that much time and effort into it and have all of that creative energy and all of that work and the reputation of the company totally squandered by some idiot bigwigs at the top that care about nothing but money is just sad. It's really sad because, I mean, I consider video games to be a form of artwork at this point.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And to rush that, and completely, like, the financial ripples of this are going to be felt for CD Projekt Red. Like good for you, executives. You're going to dip with the money that you got off of this game, which is sad. They're going to dip with the money they got, and they don't care about the future of the company. There's probably developers that want to stay, and make the next Witcher game, or maybe the next Cyberpunk game. But now now the reputation of the entire company is squandered and the consumer doesn't trust them. And it's just sad that the executives get to make this decision and they're just going to dip in a few years. Like, they don't care. They don't care about the future of the company. They're probably 55, 60 on their way to retirement. It's just ridiculous. But Andrew, what did you think about all of this?
I don't have too many thoughts on it just because I'm not very familiar with the company, just because I haven't played Witcher or obviously not played Cyberpunk. But I hope my only point would be I hope that long term the video game industry looks at this and realizes that, delays are not a bad thing, obviously, because most companies would rather just delay a game rather than just get their entire, company's name tarnished. So I hope this along with, because I remember when The Last of Us 2 was coming out, there were reports of huge crunch and people were just overworked. So I hope maybe, the hell of 2020's development crunch is something that the industry learns from. Because as a consumer, obviously I want new games I'm interested in to come out as soon as possible so I can play them. But at the same time, I would rather not have them, be awful and broken and completely busted. So I hope the entire industry learns a lesson from it. Parker, you got any thoughts on Cyberpunk?
Yes. So I've actually played like the first 3 or 4 hours of this game.
Oh, I forgot you had it, Parker.
Yeah. I actually stopped playing Cyberpunk because there's actually this part of the story where you go into this room, right? You can go at any point in time and you can take like a thermal scanner, you can listen to the audio, and you can like try to find stuff in the room, and you gather evidence and it just takes way too long. It's so boring, it's awful, and it makes you go through it for like 30 minutes before you can get out of it. So that was like the main reason why I stopped playing, is because it makes you do that shit so many times in the story. Like I had to go in that mode, like,
or the like rewinding thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it takes so long, and they make it such an integral part of the story. I don't get why. And the game also was had horrible frame rate. I had to turn this game to 1080p low, and I was still running the game at like 60, 70 FPS on my computer, which for my computer is absolutely awful. Every other game runs better than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me that the game optimization for PC was absolutely rushed and not taken seriously at all. Which I think comes back to how they need to start treating their workers better, and they also need to fix their fucking game. Like, when you make a crucial mistake such as rushing a game like that, especially a game of that size and that magnitude, it's gonna turn out like shit, and they should have known that from the beginning.
Keep in mind, the craziest part is this game was supposed to come out in April of 2020. Like,
originally,
I can't even imagine what the state of this game was in April. Like, this game is fucking broken in December. It's still broken. It is still broken, and it's May of 2021. It's still broken. I loaded this game up like this week just because of all this news, just to see the state of this game. This game was glitching the fuck out, and I was like the shit I was seeing, like it was a fucking horror movie, like
Skyrim on the PS3 level.
Yeah, worse. It was
than that.
Yeah, it was somehow worse right now when I booted up this past week than it was when I played the game in December. So it's just like,
what?
I don't know. Like, okay, God. I mean, just to give a wrap up on this whole story, don't, treat your workers with respect and dignity and care, because they are the bloodline of your company. They're the talent. It's not the marketing. It's not the investors. The people that make any good company, any good creative force flow are the workers. And you have to treat them right, and you have to treat them well, or guess what? They're going to leave. And people have been leaving CDPR. So,
and they're not going to leave you with a quality product either. Like, they're not going to put the effort in for you if you're not going to put in the effort for them.
Yeah.
Simple
So
as that.
and I think the game industry saw what happened with Cyberpunk, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of fucking games getting delayed, because I don't think anyone wants to recreate what happened with this game. And it's a shame that this game took it the route that it took, because I think if they actually polished it up and treated it like gave this game a proper release date of like 2021, 2022, it could have been one of the all-time greats. But now it's going to be looked at as a cautionary tale for the entire industry moving forward. So
The concept of Cyberpunk's amazing. Like
yeah.
the overall thought, and if this were a finished product, Cyberpunk would have been an amazing game. Better than
Mhm.
GTA in my opinion. Like it totally had the potential to be a game that we'd remember and play forever. Like if it had multiplayer, it'd make it that much better.
Mhm.
Like if they were able to come out with the multiplayer mode, but they were never able to.
And that ain't gonna happen now.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what happens when you rush the process and you don't take anything seriously. It I saw this coming from
Factions too.
I saw this coming from a
I'm
mile
just
away.
kidding. Not the same situation, but
But yeah, does that wrap up Cyberpunk?
Yeah,
Do we
yeah,
got any other thoughts?
Yeah, it is. I think that's all. I think we could probably move on to the main topic. So
All right, guys, let's start getting into Hades here. So, just to start the premise off, I personally have not played, but I know you three have. But last night I made sure to do some research, watch some reviews, and got some gameplay in. So I will be the interviewer for today. Just to start off, I know this game is based in hell. So, of course, of course it is.
I mean the underworld.
yeah,
Yeah, and you're basically going through all these levels and all these bosses and fighting through hell pretty much to escape. And there are a few there are a lot of weapons you can grab, and I believe there's 4 abilities per weapon that you can get over time. Um, and I heard there's really good replay value, so even after you've completed it, you can go back and keep collecting abilities and keep going back later. So I know that's very basic description, so we'll get some more descriptions from you guys. Andrew, what is Hades? What's the premise?
I'll let Arsenal take this one because Arsenal's the one that's actually beat this game all the way.
Yes,
yeah.
that's what
So yeah, I think just kind of stepping back, we have to understand when we're talking about a game like Hades that it's in a genre called rogue-like or roguelite, and the whole premise of this genre is, you're going to be going through the game, and the whole premise is that you're going to die, and when you die, you're going to. In most roguelites, not every, like Returnal, as I talked about, you're going to start from the beginning of the game. So you could get to the final boss, die, and start from the beginning of the game, and it's all about going through these runs. I know another big part about roguelites, and I'm going to just say roguelike just to keep it simple, and so switching between roguelike and roguelite of roguelikes is when you're going through the game, each run has some sort of randomization to it. It's not going to be the same, whether the power-ups you're getting, the upgrades you're getting throughout the run, the actual level design is going to be different. There's going to be different enemy placements, so there's a lot of randomness that you have to attribute. But the main idea is to kind of help you get through the run. You have to kind of figure out what am I going to specialize towards in my gameplay. What sort of build am I going to create with my character. Also, just your basic understanding of the game mechanics are going to help you get through it. And it's all about going through a run, dying, learning from that run, and trying to get even further. And that's the whole premise of roguelikes. That's what Hades does. And I think Hades does that entire mechanic really, really well. I think also just talking about the story, leading right into that. The story is about Zagreus, who is the son of Hades, and his entire goal is to escape the underworld and get to Earth, essentially get out of the underworld, because he doesn't want to be there for a lot of different story reasons. And I think we'll go into spoilers, but he's essentially trying to find his mother, because he finds out he thinks his mother is Nyx.
Yep.
Yeah, Nyx, but it's actually Persephone, I believe. So he's trying to go and meet his mother, and essentially Hades, who's his father and the king of the underworld, is trying to stop him and that's where we really get to see a lot of the obstacles coming into his path, a lot of the things that are trying to stop him. But that's the general gist of the story. There's also a lot of interesting characters. I thought the story was standard fare, but I think what really brought it to life was the characters and the performances in the story. I think Zagreus is a super charming main character. I think a lot of the characters are super wacky and colorful. I really love the interactions between Zagreus and Meg, and just whenever, honestly, interactions with a lot of the characters, they're always kind of sarcastic, a little cheeky when he's interacting with a lot of these characters, and it's always super interesting whenever you do interact with them. But that's kind of my thoughts on just the story and maybe some of the characters. What about you, John? And maybe your thoughts on the whole roguelike genre.
So, like I think I mentioned it in the previous episode when we were talking about Returnal, but I had never played a game in this genre before Hades. Was it the first of its kind? Was it the first of this?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But this was definitely the first that I played. I really love it. I've actually gone through it 27 times now. Still have not beat it, but I'm down for spoilers because I should have beat it this week. I got really close yesterday, got super close. Restored all my Death Defiance right before I got to the area with Cerberus, but then I accidentally closed the game, so I couldn't finish that run out. But I love Hades. It's honestly one of my favorite games that's come out recently. I would say my favorite game that came out in 2020 for sure, actually. I think the story is really interesting, and especially the characters. I mean, the story itself, you get the story through the dialogue with the characters, with like those witty conversations that Zagreus has with everyone throughout the House of Hades, and even the boss battles. There's a little bit of talk in there too. But the story is really relatively simple. I mean, Zagreus is essentially, he hates his dad. He's a kid that doesn't like his dad and wants to get out of his house. But the house is the House of Hades, and he has to fight his way through the entire underworld to get through it. And I really like that premise, especially because when I was a kid, I read the Percy Jackson books, and I'm obsessed with Greek mythology, and this is all of that. But I really liked it. I think the characters are super charming. It's one of those games where, there's not cutscenes. You'll just see the characters kind of pop up with a little picture of them and whatever face they're making when they're saying a quote. So it's very simple, but the dialogue and the voice acting is so good. For a game like this, it's a $20 if you get it on sale, probably even cheaper, on the Switch and the PC, by the way. But it's a really, really good game. I really like the story, love the characters and the interaction. But what did you think of kind of all of that, Andrew?
I mean, you guys took most of my thoughts on it, just because I mean it's a pretty straightforward game. I've honestly only gotten halfway done with it. I just am not very good at it, but I have a lot of fun playing it. I agree with John. I think the characters are really interesting. I think, each time you go through, unpacking more and more of the personalities of each of even the bosses, the other gods that help you throughout the game. I think it's really interesting. And I mean, I've had a ton of fun playing it. I don't really understand the story too much just because I haven't made it very far. But yeah, that's my brief thoughts based on. I honestly feel like I played a lot more, but I looked at my Switch time and it said I've only played 5 hours. So
I'm at almost
played
20
as much
now.
as I thought. Yeah.
Ursula, you beat this pretty quickly. I know that.
Yeah, I know, John, you said you're on 27 runs.
Yeah.
It took me about 14 or 15 to beat the game. So because yeah, I mean, I guess we can go into that. I guess one thing I wanted to ask you guys about was like, what are your thoughts on like the graphics and the whole art style and the aesthetic of this game? Because I thought that was like one of the highlights. I thought this game is absolutely gorgeous, like absolutely
It's
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's very
Yeah.
detailed. Like,
Mhm.
I guess the part I'm on is after the first main dungeon. When you go to the place that's like all fire and lava and stuff, it's like
Asphodel.
yeah, it's like so incredibly detailed. It's insane. Like they had to put hundreds of hours into just the artwork alone.
As I was seeing
Right.
this game, it kind of, not in a bad way or anything, but it reminded me, like the art style at least, it reminded me of League of Legends a little bit. Like
Oh, the
how it's
top-down view.
yeah, top-down
Yeah.
view and how the battles look. It very much reminded me of League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
the most I think a comparison I've seen people use is I think it's very similar to like Diablo, like that very like over the top. Like I heard it's essentially like Diablo, but distilled down from like a 20 to 48 to however many hours, like into something that's like 20 to 30 minutes instead of like 20 to 40 hours. You know, that same experience, but distilled down into something a lot more bite size and a lot more manageable. But I guess we should like talk about the meat of this game, right? The gameplay.
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, I think one thing to start off is like what's everyone's favorite weapons. I guess I should probably pull up a list, right? Because there's what 6 or 7. All of
Yeah. I think
Um,
there's 6 weapons.
because what is it? Oh man. Does could someone pull up a list or something of weapons? I'm trying to find something. Here.
In the meantime, I just wanted to ask a little bit because I heard this from one of the reviews I saw.
Yeah.
So I heard when you die, you can like talk to all the characters again. Like they give you new dialogue as if like you'd never died in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you can have like a checkup with those characters after you die. I just wanted to know like your guys' thoughts on that and like how you felt the character development worked after you died and how that maybe how it made you feel dying was in the game, because some people said that like dying was almost rewarding because I could get updates from these characters and see how everything's going.
You stole
Yeah,
the words
yeah.
from my mouth, Parker. I was literally going to say exactly that. I mean, every time you die, you learn a little bit more. You learn a little bit more about Zagreus and the other people in the house. And it's super interesting because with a game like this that is only like 20 to 30 minutes when you actually beat it, or like 45.
Yeah, my winning run was like 45 minutes. But the run that I beat
Yeah.
the game. Yeah.
Most of my runs where I got close were 45 minutes. But what's interesting is I don't think that the entire time that I've played the game, 27 runs, that I've heard the same thing from characters more than once. I don't think that I've heard any repeat lines. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ursula or Andrew, but I don't remember any times where the dialogue is exactly the same. It seems like there's almost an infinite number of dialogues.
I mean, I've heard people say like they're like, so I mean, like going into spoilers here, essentially you have to beat the game 10 times to get like the quote unquote true ending. So like I've heard people say like they're like 50 hours into the game and they're still hearing new dialogue. But yeah, like going into
Wow.
yeah, like
That's
Parker,
amazing.
yeah, like literally that's one of the best parts about this game is like, and I think of maybe what kind of puts it above some other roguelites is like there's a story follow through, you know, there's a thread to follow. And when you do die, you don't feel like one, because the runs are like 30 to 45 minutes, you know, you always have that feeling of like, oh yeah, I want to get one more run in. But also when you come back, you know, there's new story to be detailed, there's new story to be unloaded, and there's always something new you're gathering, whether through your experience of the run, the you know, how to new tactics, you know, new story beats. There's always something new you're picking up, which I think is super cool and super interesting. And like kind of going back to like my weird experience with Returnal is like I felt like I kind of missed that with the fact that I beat the entire first half of the game in one run with Returnal. Is like I feel like I missed out on maybe some story beats or maybe some story stuff that was supposed to happen. Like, because, you know, it's like the same thing where you die, you get more story in this game in Returnal. And it's like, I was like, I feel like, damn, maybe I should have died so I could have learned more of the story. Because I feel like I skipped a lot of it. Like imagine it like with Hades. I can't even imagine like beating the game in one run and missing so much. Like, you know, there's so much like extra dialogue, so much extra things that can happen.
You'd have really no idea of the point.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
Zagreus is
Like
even trying to do.
like even like something as basic as like the first boss with like Meg. Like, you know, after
Hot
so
girl
many,
Meg.
yeah, after so many, like even that's like an experience where it's like after so many runs, it's not even Meg you're fighting. You're fighting her like sisters, and like, you know, there's different interactions, and
I just got to that point now.
yeah, and it's like, and they have different move sets and they have different attacks, and it's like, you know, it's really crazy how they've been able to keep things super exciting. What about you, Andrew? Did you want to talk about like kind of the character, the story progression, and how that works in with the loops?
Yeah, I do appreciate, you know, the dialogue, and it keeps it interesting. You know, it's when you get like special power ups that you have to like drop one god's power to get another one's, and you know, you like drop it and the god you dropped is like, wow, okay, I see how it is. You don't want mine, you want this person instead. That's like really funny to me when I'm playing through. I'm like damn, like I actually like I'm like made somebody disappointed, so like shit.
Pissed off a god.
Yeah, but I mean like John said, it seems like there's like infinite dialogue loops, because I've never even like everything just like keeps, every time you die it just like it's like you just moved forward a day in like reality, you know, like just new stuff happens to whoever you talk to, and they just have new stuff every time, which is really cool.
Yeah, and the enemies are different every time too, but I mean, I think that can kind of tie into the gameplay in general.
But did we ever get a list of the weapons pulled up?
Yeah. So I'll just read off Jesus Christ, the weapons, and this maybe will ring some a reminder to everyone. So the first one is the Stygian blade, which is just the sword. Then the next weapon is the heart-seeking bow. So, you know, bow. Then there's the shield of chaos, which is like essentially like the Captain America shield. You can like like kind of toss out like a boomerang. You know, just kind of bring everyone's memory back. Then there's the eternal spear. Very good range weapon, I think. Then there's the fist. And then finally, there is the adamant rail, which is the gun. So I guess I'll start off with like my progression of favorites. When I started off early on, I mean, when I just had the bow and the sword, I definitely thought the sword was better. I think the bow is actually my least favorite weapon in the entire game. And then from there, I didn't even like the shield of chaos, but man, I fell in love with the spear, because the spear had like an insane amount of range to me. And there's some crazy upgrades you can get later on with like where you can have the spear doing like, you know, 3 hits for every attack you do. And the range is like, it can shoot through like half of the stage essentially. So I was actually using the spear for like a good amount of my runs, but believe it or not, I think I'm actually trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I actually ended up beating the game with the gun, which is the last weapon you get. So
the first time I got to Hades was with the gun when I unlocked that.
So honestly, I think in terms of just fun, I think probably the spear is my favorite. I had a lot of fun using it, like just spamming the shit out of it. And like I figured with that more than any other weapon, I specifically found out like what exactly I wanted to like run, like what upgrades I wanted to like go out and find in my runs to like really beef it up. Like with the spear, I knew I really liked the extra range that you could get with the attack. I really liked there's an upgrade, you know, like I said, where instead of just one spear attack, it shoots 3 at a time. So like the 3 at a time with the range. And then I also had an upgrade that would increase my attack speed. So it was just like literally like, it was insane. Like how fast I was hitting, how far I was hitting, and how much damage I was dealing. And that was honestly like probably my favorite setup for my weapons. But what about you, John?
So obviously I started off with the Stygian blade, the sword. And I had a lot of fun with it, but I think it's probably with the bow as the worst weapons in the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you can upgrade them, so I'm sure that both of them can be, you know, god slaying. and they can be good enough. But I didn't really explore too much with those. My weapon of choice, actually, almost since the beginning, has been the shield. I love the shield. And with the upgrades that you can get toward the end, you can get more range out of your throw, and you can have it hit more people too. And being able to like block stuff is OP. Like holding, I think it's Y. You hold Y or the attack button, and you get to actually hold your shield, and it blocks literally every attack. So I found that super useful. I wish it had a little more range like the spear, because I've gotten some of my best runs out of the spear. And like I said, the gun, the first time and the only time I used it, I got to Hades, but I haven't really used it since because I didn't think it was that fun to use. And I was actually going to say,
you need some very certain upgrades to make it fun, because the standard, like starting out, it's kind of whack.
Like, I wish there were more weapons for a game that you can play. I mean, you could put 100 hours into this if you want to like get the, 10 endings, the true ending out of it. You could get easily 100 hours, or I could, because I haven't even beat it yet, and I'm almost at 20. But I wish there were a little bit more. But they do supplement that, like we said, by the ability to upgrade your weapons, and you can pretty much upgrade them, I mean, to your play style, because every time you go through a door that has a weapon upgrade, so when you're running through like the underworld, you have choices of doors that you can go through. And that's a whole topic with itself. But when you go through the ones for the weapon upgrades, you get to keep those weapon upgrades. That's like the only thing. Well, actually, you get to keep pretty much everything you collect through the run through. But some of the weapon upgrades you get, I mean, you get to choose out of a list of 3 what you want to do. So you can really customize your play style however you want it. So
almost always
there's really an infinite number of possibilities with them.
Whenever there was the option for a health upgrade, I would like almost always take that door. You know, the ones that boost your health by like 25 or whatever, or maybe if something more, maybe like 37 if you get some certain upgrades. But like the ones that boost your health by 25 every time, like I almost always did that, because I knew like by the end of the game, the main thing I wanted to be stacked on was health. Like you needed to be stacked on like want to save your death defiances, which, just so everyone knows, the death, like there's certain upgrades you can get back at your home base before you start each run that pretty much can help you in your runs. One of them is called like a death defiance, which is if you do die, you can come back with a limited amount of health, so you can keep your run going. There's other upgrades too, like every time you go through a door, you get like 3 health. So there's all these like permanent upgrades that you can do that can help your runs out, and death defiance is one of those. So like by the end of the game, like John, you said you used 4 death defiances, so like you can really stack those up. And it's crazy because when you get enough runs in, it's really wild to think that like the goal of success is, damn, I really like, I don't want to even die once up until like Hades. Like if I can limit that, because like Hades is a bitch. And we'll get into that. We'll get into the bosses, but so I guess, what was I said my favorite one was the spear. What'd you say? You said yours was the shield?
Yeah, the shield was my favorite.
What about you, Andy?
I think my favorite was the spear. I don't even know if I've unlocked the gun yet, so I don't have any experience with that, but I've used the spear pretty much every run through I've done, because I think, like you said, Arso, it's like super fun to use with all the upgrades and stuff. And it's just like having like a ranged weapon on a lot of the areas is very advantageous, just because, it makes it easier to like do evasion and, kind of like strategically take down whoever you're fighting. Which I guess I'll just move on, because I move into mine, because favorite boss battle, because I've only gotten through the Meg one. I haven't beaten the second one. But the spear made Meg really easy, just because you could hide, pretty much infinitely, and then do ranged attack.
I guess, what do you like between the 2 bosses you face? Which one do you like more?
I like Meg just because I beat her. I haven't beaten the second. I don't even remember what the second one's name is, but yeah, I'm not great at this game. So like I would say Meg's my favorite boss battle just because it's the only one I beat. My favorite area is the second one because that's the farthest I've gotten, and how far I've gotten is the second area. So, like I played this game like I've gone through like so many times. I think I just when I play it I just get too like aggressive with trying to like just take down the enemies instead of like actually like kind of thinking about it. So that might be why I'm not very good at it, but I still love playing it. It's super fun to play, and I'll just keep playing it till I finish it, I guess. Little by little.
I guess, John, I guess that's maybe a conversation for you and me then, like favorite bosses, least favorite, all the stuff you see right there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, surprisingly, Hades, he wasn't my favorite boss in the game. I think my favorite one was actually against the Bone Hydra. First of all, I love the art style of Asphodel. I mean, it's the fire world, so like it's just super bright and colorful. And the Bone Hydra is super cool. He's on the cover of the game. It's like right there in your face. But the boss battle itself with the Bone Hydra just feels like a classic ass polished boss battle to me. Like it's got the classic 3 phases where between the phases of the battle with the Bone Hydra, he's got invincibility and you're forced to fight like weaker versions of him while trying to dodge fire on the floor, trying to dodge those guys' attacks, the Bone Hydra's attacks, and it's beautiful to look at. And I think that was probably the most best looking boss battle. I mean, I haven't beat Hades, so I haven't even gotten to the second phase of that boss battle with Hades.
Oh my god.
But the art style with like the Bone Hydra is just, it's so cool. You're in like this dungeon and there's fire all around you and there's this big bone looking snake essentially in front of you that's trying to kill you like everything else in the game.
What about least favorite boss?
Least favorite would probably be the Minotaur and that other asshole with the spear. I can't remember his name.
Let me see. Hades. Yeah, because the Bone Hydra. Yeah, it's the Minotaur and okay. Bosses. Okay. Theseus and Asterius.
Theseus?
Theseus and Asterius.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
But I hated that one. First of all, the fact that you fight the Minotaur before you fight him again, like what the hell?
Yeah,
it's so bold. Like, and the Minotaur is the most annoying part of that boss battle because he's just like he's literally taking away your only cover from the dude's spear, and if you don't have any cover from that, he's just gonna keep hitting you. Like, I swear, all of my Death Defiance has been used in that boss battle, like every run through. Every time I die through that one. I like the ones with like Hot Girl Meg, Megara, in the beginning with the Furies. There's like 3 of them, I believe. And those are really cool. I like all of the boss battles. And something we actually, I wanted to touch on too, is that there's mini boss battles before like the main boss battles that take you to the next area. Like there's this big statue dude that like shoots lasers everywhere. There's Medusa, a big Medusa head that will turn you to stone, and then there's a stone that'll crush you. There's so much to it. There's literally so much depth to this game for being 45 minutes long. But what did you think of the boss battles, Ursel?
Yeah, so I think, what is it? So I think, honestly, after like the first few runs, like Meg and the Bone Hydra, I feel like are just complete pushovers. Like I don't need, like, I have no trouble getting through those after like my first like 1 or 2 runs, honestly. Like I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever lost to the Bone Hydra actually. So like from there, I I think my favorite boss is definitely Hades, just because I think by that point in the game, it really feels like a battle between like two, like, you know, two people are really battling, like, and you have to like really be smart about like his like a lot of the moves he's throwing at you. And holy shit, that second phase is even harder than the first phase. And I'm shocked that I was able to get through Hades' second phase in like my second try. Like seriously, like I don't know how what crack like what drugs I was smoking, like what drugs I was like on, like get you know, doing this, like I was in another zone. But Hades I think was definitely my favorite fight because it's just like the most intense, it's the most epic. Like you're really on the edge of your toes, you're like sweating bullets, like it's just it's just like
Yeah.
an absolute clusterfuck. But in response to that, I think hands down the worst boss of this game is the dual boss fight right before that. And like so like same boat as you, John, where like, and I think like this is worth getting into, and this is kind of my biggest criticism with this game and why I don't love it as much as I want to, is that okay, first let me break down the boss. I think this boss is like borderline unfair. Like that I'm actually in the opposite opinion of you, John. I actually think the shield guy is even more annoying because I think his a lot of the attacks in this game, they're easy to dodge because they're traveling towards you through the environment instead of like it's not like a gunshot where it's like boom, you just got hit. But like I feel like his attack borderline is like that's like the closest to that where like you barely have any reaction time dodging the shield guy's spear that he throws at you.
Yeah.
And on
You
top of
just have
that,
to constantly be dodging.
yeah, and then on top of that, you have the fucking Minotaur who's like ground pounding you like constantly. So it's like the reason I don't that's my least favorite battle is because it's just not fun to me. Like it's just you're constantly dodging in circles, trying to like dodge the guy's spears, and then you're trying to dodge the Minotaur, and like every like 10 seconds, 5-10 seconds, you can go in and get a couple jabs in on the Minotaur or whoever, and then just keep dodging around in circles, get a few hits in, dodge around in circles, get a few hits in. And that's it. Just that fight was never fun to me. And I actually thought like that fight sometimes in some runs, depending on what upgrades I had, was harder than the Hades fight. Like that fight is I thought was really, really hard. And I think like kind of just that's it kind of exemplifies some of my biggest issue with this game. And maybe Andrew, you can also delve into this source. I feel like after a while, the game just gets way too button mashy. Like borderline, like you know, for me eventually, like yeah, it's interesting to like try to find like different builds and different things like that. But at the end of the day, like it was really for me, what is the quickest way? Like, what is the way that I can maximize damage? Because if I can at least dodge like, and I was like it eventually turns into some of these rooms because these rooms are just absolute clusterfucks, right? Like later on in the
Especially
game.
27 runs in, dude, it gets
Yeah.
worse. It gets harder.
Yeah, and it's like you know, some of these rooms are absolutely insane where it's just like you're just constantly dodging and just spamming the attack button. And I felt like it took a lot of the strategy away, and like once I realized that okay, if I can maximize damage, that's really all I need, because all I want at the end of the day, right, is for these fights to last as short as possible. Like especially with that Minotaur fight and the shield guy fight, like I realized like look, the longer I'm in these fights, the longer I'm in these rooms, that's just more time and opportunities for me to get hit. And that's like the last thing you want in these fights. So it's like for
Exactly.
me, it's like, what is the setup? What is the loadout I can do that will just completely like maximize my damage, obliterate the fuck out of these guys, and move on. And it was the thing with that fight was like it never felt like I got better with my play style. It felt like I just found the best loadout in that run that just maximized damage so much that I was able to reduce the length of that fight to the point where I could win and get out of there and move on to Hades. So and
Right.
that's like kind of going into like, you know, my biggest complaint about the game is I think it just gets way too button mashy. And like, you know, like I know we've joked about this where it's like it's literally like it feels like 30-45 minutes of just I'm terrible with what's like the square equivalent on the Switch, like in terms of the button, in terms of like the face
Y.
button.
Y.
Yeah, like
Er.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like it's just like it's just a game of like constantly just tapping between Y and B like over and over again,
Yeah.
just like dash attack, dash attack, dash attack, and it just becomes like it became like a little mindless to me at certain points. And that's kind of like my biggest con of the game. But I know it's kind of nitpicking, and I know a lot of people might not feel that way, but that's kind of like my main criticism with it, and also like my criticism with why that boss is my least favorite. In terms of my favorite areas, I will say though, my favorite area was Elysium, which is that area. I think like the whole like Hall of Heroes, like this is like everyone you're fighting there is like a fallen like soldier, you know, that's trying to kick your ass. Like I thought that was super
Yeah.
cool. It was annoying how you have to like kill their ghosts after you killed them so they wouldn't respawn, but I thought that was a cool
Right.
extra.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. So Elysium was my favorite. But yeah, and then in terms of like how far I got, I beat the game. Um, John, I don't know if you had any responses to that, but then I can kind of go into like how the game ends and like where the story goes from
Yeah.
there.
No, I'll let you go into how the game ends. I'm actually excited to hear.
Yeah. So essentially, Hades, you beat him. He goes back to his back to his desk, and go ahead and go out to you go up to Earth. You know, go back to you get to your mom actually, and she, you guys start having conversation. You guys start talking like, hey, I'm your son. I'm alive. I'm here to visit you. So now going into why you have to beat this game 10 times to get the true ending. And I haven't beat the game 10 times. But essentially what happens is he realizes, Zagreus realizes when he's up on Earth that he's his actual like entity, his like being is tied to the underworld, because he was like born there or something. So he can't actually be on Earth for like an extended period of time. So he starts dying while he's talking to his mother. He dies, and lo and behold, he's back. He's back at the start of the game.
Oh,
And,
I love that.
And essentially, like through the next 9 runs, what I had to read up on this because I didn't obviously beat it, but essentially, he still goes up. He learns more about his history with his mother, like throughout those 9 runs, and essentially the culmination of the game is instead of Zagreus going up out onto Earth at the 10th run, his mom decides to come down to hell with him, and essentially like Hades is, he gets on good terms with Persephone and like everything's good. And essentially, if you want to do more runs after that 10th successful run, the story reasoning for it is that Hades wants you to do it so that he can test like security measures for hell instead of like your own personal I want to get out of here to see my mother. So by the end of it, she comes down with him, and he's going out and doing these extra runs at that point if you want to keep playing the game after the 10th run too, for security reasons.
Wow.
So so I guess what are your guys' thoughts on that? I thought that was cool, like a cool ending. That would be a cool ending. What do you think, John?
I think that'd be an amazing ending. I mean, that is the ending. So like if
it's not like a theory crafting.
It's not like a theory. No. No, that's actually so cool. Like even after you saying it and knowing how it's gonna end, I still want to play it, and I want to play through the 10 times just to see that myself and see it unfold. I don't really like see where else they could have went with it. So now that you told me, I'm like, okay, like that makes sense. But that's really cool though, that, rather than it ending with like Zagreus actually defeating Hades or something and living on Earth permanently, he and his mom and Hades are all stuck in hell.
Yeah.
I think the extended dialogue where like it's a big happy family now, and Hades was just, making sure that the underworld wasn't too easy to escape. I think that's kind of stupid. But for a game that, again, it's a game that's $20 fucking dollars, and it has this much meat to it. I mean, you really can't complain too much. I guess my like main gripe with the game would be that, you know, at times, like you said, Arsenal, it gets a little repetitive just with the button mashing. Like you have an infinite number of possibilities with the weapon upgrades and the boons that you collect from the gods, an infinite number of possibilities, but it just does feel a little repetitive at times with the button mashing. You really, I mean, 27 runs in, it's so difficult, and there's so many enemies that it is just dodge, attack, dodge, attack, dodge, attack every time. But
what about your thoughts on that? Andrew, I know you're like way earlier on than like me
Yeah.
and even John, but like,
No,
what are your thoughts on the story?
I think that I mean, now that I know the story's end, I think that's a really cool ending. You know, getting that, obviously the true ending is what I'm gonna be, obviously what I'm talking about. The true ending sounds really interesting. I think it ties it together nice. The only thing I'd say is I don't know how you could like come up with a sequel for that, because it seems like it's just like left very nicely and like tied up. Like
it's almost like the sequel's already in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got
Well, like,
three endings.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but like Andrew, like I know since you've been having a hard time, but there's a quote unquote God mode that like makes the game like a lot more like less challenging, like less punishing. Like have you guys have either of you guys tried that?
I might try that
I didn't
after
know
I
it existed.
get through my first run through. I might do that after my first run through just so I can get 10 in. Because I would totally put another 10 hours in. Dude, I love this game.
Yeah, I would. What is it? I would. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I was thinking about just putting on God mode for some of the like for like the other like runs 2 through 10. But I guess Andrew, did you want to talk about like I guess the legacy of this game? Like
yeah, I mean
that conversation.
Yeah, this game last year kind of popped out of nowhere and really made some huge strides. Obviously, it got nominated for tons of Game of the Year awards. It actually won a few Game of the Year awards.
Yeah, I think like that's crazy. Like I think overall, like it was probably runner up to Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
In terms of like total awards.
Yeah, and I think it's I guess to kind of tie it back to our current events or what you had talked about with Returnal. Obviously, Returnal been in development way earlier than when Hades came out, but I would be interested to see what sales numbers Returnal does. I mean, it might be kind of hard to isolate just because it's the first, big PS5 game in a while. But it'll be interesting to see how like the genre like evolves just because of the massive success of Hades and the universal acclaim it got. Because I know you could like maybe look at Returnal sales numbers, but I feel like maybe you'd have to like look farther in the future because obviously it's not like Sony made Returnal in like 5 months. like they've been working on this game for years probably. So
it's kind of crazy how many roguelites are like coming out nowadays now.
Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting. And I think the Game of the Year legacy, just the fact that, I mean, Supergiant Games had like Bastion and Transistor are the two other big games they've made. I actually have Transistor. I have not even touched it yet, so I can't really give an opinion on I can't really compare those two. But I think it would be huge for Supergiant Games if they can make another game similar to Hades, or maybe not similar to Hades, but like build off the success of Hades to make maybe venture into other genres besides roguelites. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see in the future just how the genre evolves and how Supergiant evolves from it. Because I mean, now you can get a physical edition on the Switch that comes with the soundtrack. That people love this game so much they're double dipping just to have a physical copy and like the soundtrack and art book and stuff. So I mean, they're probably swimming in money right now, honestly, which is really interesting. But what Arso, I guess I'll go to you because I know you've been playing Returnal, so been kind of diving into the roguelikes more often. But what do you think the legacy is, and what do you think it'll evolve into?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really excited to see where this genre, because it seems like it's a really, it's a newly, emerging genre. I'm really excited to see where it goes. There's gonna be Deathloop coming out later this year, which I'm also interested to check out. I'm having fun with Returnal, because I think one thing that these games really have to get down to be, the first thing you have to get down for a roguelite is the gameplay. And hey, um, I think like something like Returnal has like really. I actually think this. I actually think Returnal is like gameplay. It's loop, like the actual gameplay. You playing the game, I actually think is better than Hades. In terms of the roguelite elements, though, like the whole idea of like the loop progression, the like different builds, the how the story is delved out. I think Hades does that better, and I think that's what Hades is probably, like also getting a lot of praise for how it does those mechanics really well. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where this genre kind of goes. Andrew, did you want to kind of also give your final thoughts on the game? Maybe like where this ranked for your games last. I guess maybe I'll do it and I'll pass it on to you guys. Like, so yeah, I'm really excited to see where this genre goes. I think I'm not as in love with the gameplay loop, sadly, as much as I wanted to with this game, just because I think it just gets really, really mindless after like so many runs. I feel like a lot of the strategy just flies out the window after a certain while because it just becomes so button mashy. So, but I think this game is a really good example of like the roguelike elements. Like, I think if you could take the roguelike elements, like how they got that, they really fine tuned that loop down and maybe mix it with something with a little bit more in-depth, better gameplay. I think we could see another peak in the roguelike genre. And I know this game has gotten also a lot of praise. It's not my favorite game of last year. It's probably like maybe number 4, number 3, probably like number 3, maybe number 2 at the best.
I forgot Last of Us 2 came out last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I mean,
but it is
I think
like up there.
Which I mean, I think maybe we're all in the same boat where maybe Last of Us would have been our favorite game last year, and like Hades, but Hades is a pretty damn good. Like the fact that a game like Hades is in the same conversation as something like The Last of Us.
It's $20 fucking dollars.
Yeah,
I can't stress that enough. It's $20,
which is like that's still something to praise for Supermassive. And as so at the end of the day, I'm gonna actually give the game. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think it's a great game. I just wish that there was just a little bit more depth in the combat. And I think if that was there, this game would have been like a 9, 9.5, maybe even like a 10 or something. But I think the combat it's really monotonous and like mindless. But from there, but I think this game is still great. I think probably like in terms of game of the year conversations, I know we're going to talk about like Last of Us and stuff later down the line, but like, this is probably like number 3 for me. I think this is sitting at number 3 for games like last year. So 8.5 out of 10 for me. John, you want to give your final thoughts and maybe talk about like where you see this genre going and your thoughts on this genre?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super interested to see where the roguelike genre goes. I wonder how far it could really go. I mean, with the kind of death loop idea, you can do so many things with that. Like, will they do an 8 to 10 hour, like full life simulator roguelike where there's no battles or anything? Like, or a horror.
Yeah.
What about a horror roguelike?
Yeah.
Because there was a movie that's a roguelike essentially. What
Groundhog
was that
Day?
movie?
Groundhog Day?
No, I haven't seen. Yeah,
Groundhog Day is roguelike.
Yeah, there's a horror movie like that, and I think it would be a great idea for a horror.
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
So I think that if the horror genre gets their hands into this, that could be really interesting.
It's actually funny you say that because Returnal is actually like me and Tanner were playing it last night. And it was like there's a few times where like this game's kind of fucking creepy, man. Like
it
this
looks like Dead Space. It looks like I haven't seen a lot of it, but it looks like a really fine-tuned, like modern Dead Space a little bit.
Yeah, like it's there's definitely some like I've gotten scared. Like I've gotten scared a few times playing the game. So
yeah. But just to kind of wrap up my thoughts on
And
Hades
sorry, John.
in general.
Sorry, John. One more thing. And like also with my thoughts, like I love that the runs are 30 to 45 minutes in this game. Like one of the big complaints that people are saying about Returnal is like the runs can be like 2 hours long, which is insane. So yeah,
Right.
that's one thing I just want to add in. But go on, John. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, I feel like 2 hours would be a little bit much because
Mhm.
even after like a good 45 to 50-minute session where I get to Hades and fail, I don't want to immediately go back to it.
Mhm.
And that was one of my gripes with the game is I feel like there wasn't enough that kept me coming back, that like I would get to Hades, fail, and immediately go back to it. Like I would need to take a break after that. And mainly it's because my damn fingers were so tired. I'm not
Yeah,
even
my fingers
kidding.
would hurt.
Like,
Yeah,
all jokes
seriously.
aside, yeah. But the button mashing got a little bit over the top after a while. But after hearing how the game ends and the fact that there really is an infinite number of possibilities for you in this game, it's just crazy what Supergiant Games was able to pack into a $20 package. So with that, I would give Hades actually a 9.5 out of 10. It's my favorite game of last year, and it's my favorite game that's come out in a while. Besides
do you like
The Last
it?
of Us 2. Besides The
So
Last of Us 2.
so is it your runner-up then for last year then?
Yeah, I guess, yes.
Yeah.
I keep
Okay.
forgetting that Last of Us 2 came out in 2020 was
2020
such a blur.
Yeah.
Such a blur of a year. But it would be my second favorite game because The Last of Us, I mean, is
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
we'll talk about it. We'll finish it. But what about you, Andrew?
Yeah, just because I haven't finished the game, I don't know how valid my rating is. But I agree with you guys. I think the issue I've had with it is that once I like finish, there's like besides like the first couple times I played through, there's really like no rush for me to get back in and retry. Like, and that kind of goes without saying just because of my playtime history with it. I like went hard on it for like a week and then just kind of like forgot about it. It's just like a game that has replay value, but it's just not something that I'm like itching to play. But it's still, the art style and the music is fantastic, and I think it's a unique idea and storyline. So I give it a 8 out of 10. Not necessarily a really valid rating just because the limited amount I played of it, but yeah, I hope to beat it soon. I just need some motivation to like finish it, I guess.
So I'm guessing this probably wouldn't be in like a game of the year conversation for you, Andrew. Like, because I know you play with like, because I know like Miles Morales and like there's so many bangers that came out.
I don't even know if it would be in the top 5 for me last year, honestly. Just because of how many good games came out last year. Like I'd probably say like 2020, probably The Last of Us 2 for sure, and then Animal Crossing, and during 2020 because it's just gotten really stale. But then Miles Morales and like Sackboy are 2 amazing games. So I mean, Hades might be 5.
Sackboy was overlooked.
I can't really think of a 6th one, so I guess Hades would be still my top 5, but out of 5 games. But I guess with that rating, that gives us an average of 8.6. So I mean, pretty good game. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go do it.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of wraps things up. Parker, you want to close us out?
Take us away, boy.
So that pretty much wraps up the podcast, boys. I really didn't have any final thoughts on Hades. I really
Are you interested in checking out the game from what you've heard?
I am definitely interested in checking it out because these are the kinds of games where I really binge, where there's a lot of collectibles. There's a lot of it's kind of like The Legend of Zelda, where like you can find a whole, like the experience is different for everybody. And you can upgrade a whole different kind of way than everybody else that plays the game. So those are the kind of things I love. So I would totally be down to play this game. I tried to find the CD key last night, but was worried about downloading a virus. So I just watched reviews. and yeah. But I will make sure to download this and try it out and see what I think. But
And I hope
definitely-
some of the listeners do too.
for
Yeah.
sure.
It's an incredible game.
Yeah, it's
If you have a
honestly like
Switch-
it's only $20. It's definitely worth checking out. Like even though like I mean like I still for in games people think like anything like below a 9 is like shit or something, but like I don't agree with I don't view things like that. So like to me like an 8.5 that's still a great game. Like I think this is a great game, and for $20 like a potential game of the year contender, potentially somebody's game of the year out there, a lot of people's game of the year out there, like this is 100%, like you don't want to miss this game. It's definitely worth checking out because it's so unique. So
Awesome. Well, we are going to finish up the podcast there. Follow us on all of our socials. We'll make sure to include the link tree so you can look at all of our different platforms. I am starting to stream on Twitch a little bit. We will definitely do some more streams as we go on because I had a lot of fun last night doing that. So any closing thoughts you guys had before we leave?
No.
Just
Awesome.
subscribe, rate, and share.
yeah, just if you like it, share it, keep listening. Really like, I really appreciate like whenever people reach out and tell us whatever it is about the podcast. I really like.
Shout out my cousin Megan.
Yeah, I saw that. But seriously, yeah, just keep sharing. Tune into Twitch. We'll probably update you guys on the main topic, but I'll definitely be reviewing Returnal next week and giving my full impressions on that, which will be nice after we just talked about Hades. So I hope everyone enjoys. I'm signing off. See you guys.
See you guys.
Signing
See
off.